Good evening everyone and welcome back to THG News. Tonight we're going to take a look at this week's news and next week's weather forecast. But first, we're going to take a look at some lesser known facts about the UK. First up, we have Philip with an interview with a British citizen. Take it away, Philip.
Okay guys, today we're gonna talk about the States. Never mind the UK, let's go. We are standing here with a British man with the name of Mao. What do you have to say about the UK?
The United Kingdom is composed of the England, Scotland, Wales and the south of Ireland. So it means there is no official language in United Kingdom. And there also has the people come from another country. So they are talking about their native language in United Kingdom. So how could they understand each other with themselves language? So they need an unofficial language, and that is English.
Thank you very much, Mao. We have more to come for this show. Let's go.
Thank you, Philip. Next up, we have a caller on the line. Hello, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Hi, sir. What's your name?
Bean.
Okay, hi, Mr. Bean. You said you had stuff to tell us about tea and rugby. Is that so?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, then. Take it away.
Rugby is a type of football developed at rugby schools in Rugby, Warwickshire. One of many versions of football played at English public schools in the 19th century. The two main types of rugby are rugby league and rugby union. The beginnings of rugby football in earnest lie in medieval Europe, where many variations of mob football games were played. The majority of these games allowed for picking up and carrying the ball. These medieval football games throughout the Middle Age led to a great deal of variation in the way of football was played in different localities. It was toward the 18th century that some of these disparate games started to converge into more unified sports. In the 19th century especially, variation organizations strove to unify the variation branches, leading in the development of rugby rules and association rugby football.
Thank you for sharing that information, Mr. Bean. Next up, we have Amanda, who's going to tell you about some history and culture of the UK.
Today, the United Kingdom is represented by Scotland, Wales, England and Northern Ireland. Together they did manage to become one of the most powerful empires throughout history. And ever since their great power, they have been successful in both economics and politics. Despite that, some people wanted more. And an organization called Irish Volunteers, or IRA, were founded in 1913. Their goal was to secure and maintain the Irish population's rights and independence. The IRA are an organization most closely associated with the militant Irish nationalism. They are known for their guerrilla warfare tactics and support of freeing Northern Ireland from the United Kingdom. Between 1968 and 1998, in a period known as the Troubles, over 3,600 people were killed and up to 50,000 were injured through bombings and attacks. The original IRA began in 1917 as a volunteer Irish army. In 1921, they won independence from the UK for most of the island of Ireland. But a small portion of Ireland, Northern Ireland, remained under British control. The IRA was not quite satisfied with, and in 1922 a new IRA was formed. The new organization was not only against the British but also against former IRA members who agreed to the New Deal. Throughout the 20th century, even more groups of IRA members had been formed, and they all go under different names. For example, Official IRA, Provisional IRA, and the Real IRA. They are thought to contain hundreds of members and have potentially thousands of sympathizers. The militant group are closely associated with the oldest and most popular political movement in Ireland, called Sinn Féin. Several outbreaks of violence have been attributed to both IRA and British soldiers. One of the most well-known incidents was Bloody Sunday 1972, where British soldiers opened fire on a crowd of unarmed Irish protesters, killing 14 people. Despite that, the IRA had made a lot of damage as well. Only in 2014, 7 bombings incidents attributed to the IRA groups. The culture of the United Kingdom has been influenced by many factors, including the nation's island status, its history as a Western liberal democracy and a major power, as well as being a political union of 4 countries with each preserving elements of distinctive traditions, costumes and symbols. As a result of the British Empire, which was the most powerful empire throughout the history, British influence can be observed in the language, culture and legal systems of many of its former colonies, including Australia, Canada, India, Ireland, New Zealand, Pakistan and South Africa, and also the United States. The substantial cultural influence of the United Kingdom has led to be described as a culture superpower.
Thank you, Amanda. Next up, we have some more footage with the British citizen. Philip, over to you.
So we're back here with Mao, that is going to talk more about the people of the UK. Mao.
The people who live in the UK, they very hate the wasteful people. For example, if there has a tea guest and there has only 3 visitors, the owner will only burn 3 cups of water. And we talk about the tea guest, and tea is an important part of the people lives in the UK. British tea is very particular for the people who lives in the UK, and like every day from 3 to 4 o'clock everyone will put down their work and have a cup of tea. Sometimes they eat some snacks also. If you live in the UK and there's someone to invite you to have a tea break, don't push it and you can just enjoy it. What do you think about 13, this number?
I think 13 is just a number. Back to you, Mao.
Okay, but the people live in the UK, they are very trouble of the 13 because of the relation. The 13 is not a good number for them. They are never if there is a party, they will never let 13 people sit in a same table, and it's very rude for smoking on a party. And never use this hand sign in the UK. It's also a bad thing.
Thank you very much, Mao, for your time. Now back to Villa.
Great work once again, Philip. Last but not least, we have a video sent in by a student who's actually a viewer, and he's going to tell you about the educational system in the UK. In the United Kingdom, the education system is divided into 4 parts: primary education, secondary education, higher education and further education. The students have to attend school from 5 years old to 16 years old. That's primary and secondary school. The educational system is split into 4 key stages as well. Key stage 1 is 5 to 7 years old, key stage 2 is 7 to 11 years old, key stage 3 is 11 to 14 years old, and key stage 4 is 14 to 16 years old. The first 2 key stages are performed in primary school, and as they move on to secondary school, they do the last 2 key stages. They are performed from the age of 11 to 16. For those students who want to continue on with their education, there are certain requirements that they have to accomplish to have full access to the further education. But whether the students want to continue studying or just start working, they will need a certificate as a sort of confirmation of approved schooling. The certificate is earned at the end of secondary school through the most important assignments that occur at the age of 16. This is the GCSE, or the General Certificate of Secondary Education. Once the students complete their GCSE, the students have access to further education and higher education. Further education is needed for those who plan to go to college or university. Thank you all so very much for watching. This has been THG News. We are out.